Welcome to Little Misunderstood. At the end of last year, we at the Pineapple Lounge felt that the social discourse around the roles and status of women had a lot of momentum. So we saw the popularity and the rise of figures like Caitlin Moran and Emma Watson, who made feminism more accessible. And we also witnessed some high-profile political and media debates around equal pay, no more page 3, and everyday sexism too. If you look at the music world, you see women ruling the stage. So in the era of big global music stars, Beyonce, Adele, Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift, all singing messages about independence and telling us to be true to ourselves, or put a ring on it. And even princesses are changing. If you haven't found yourself singing Let It Go on loop in your head at some point over the last year or so, or Frozen fever, then you've missed out. And what's interesting about Frozen is that yes, Elsa is still very much a princess, but she's one with sass, she's one with power, one who lets go of what's holding her back and embraces her uniqueness, and that's something different from before. And even more recently, the upcoming Star Wars film at the end of this year, and even the trailer, has already been praised for the focus on strong female characters, which is a real departure from the norm. It is a slow process, but we think that millennial women are pushing through change. And this is catching and it's sticking and it's filtering down into kids' worlds. And that was the inspiration for this study. And put simply, we think marketing to girls should be better. There are some great examples of work out there, but there is still an ocean of opportunity. And this news isn't just for brands trying to appeal to girls now, but it's got implications for adult brands, because the Gen Z women are going to be the mothers of the future, and they will be a very different audience and command a new set of rules, and which of course these will be set by themselves. It's been a really interesting study, and it's made us laugh, it's made us cry, it's made us feel frustrated, and also marvel at the opportunity. But one thing has stood out loud and clear, and that is, as an industry, we need to let go of our obsession with up-aging girls. Modern girls are largely feeling empowered and pretty happy with their lives, but what they see in advertising and media isn't contributing to this to much extent. Brands can have a bigger role to play and can be more impactful, contributing to a positive development of growth and young female minds. Little Misunderstood wants to be understood by brands. She wants brands to champion who she is now in her life, not add to the pressure around her to achieve physical and social perfection. And here's the newsflash: girls are interested in an array of things, not just being famous and looking good. And so we ask, what would happen if we gave up the idea that we need to sell an ideal image of who she feels she needs to be? What would happen if, instead of adding to the pressure of trying to be something, we fought it and simply celebrated who she is now? What would happen if we focused not just on the surface level attraction of girls, but we appealed to her deeper, more emotive and thoughtful self? And we urge you to find out, and we challenge you to show Little Misunderstood that you understand. And we believe in doing so, you'll get their attention and support in what you're doing. So just to quickly give you a bit of background about the research we did, it focused on 8 to 14-year-old girls from around the UK, and this included some quals, some 12 in-home hangouts with girls and their mums, 30 girls in an online community, 20 parent consultations, and also a very robust quant survey of 1,000 girls too. So let's take an initial look at what Little Misunderstood is like and begin to understand how she feels about the world around her and where she fits in. The first thing to say is long gone are the days where boys are felt to have more opportunities and can take the lead. 7 in 10 girls feel equal to boys, and most don't feel that being a girl has held them back in any respect. And whilst it isn't a competition, and girls certainly don't see it as one, they do feel more empowered to try things that traditionally have been labelled as for the boys, and they feel that their gender should not hold them back or prevent them from having a go and taking part. And developmentally, they see themselves as being emotionally and intellectually intelligent. And what's interesting is that they rate boys much lower when it comes to sensitivity and being caring. And whilst this can be passed off as just girls are naturally that way inclined, they do see it as a weakness actually, and a weakness for boys. They feel that boys their age won't have the same opportunities in terms of being open and being able to build relationships, which they see as a key trait during the transition from tween to teen. And importantly, on the whole, Little Misunderstood feels good about life. She's driven by her outlook that I've already alluded to at the beginning. We see that she radiates positivity about her position in the world. So about 8 out of 10 girls feel happy about their life and positive about the future, and over 2/3 believe that they can achieve anything they put their mind to. And just to note, the people who are outside these top kind of percentages are generally ambivalent. There's very few of them who really disagree with these statements. So her world feels opportunistic, and she has a sense that anything is achievable, and driven by Wi-Fi and technology in particular, as depicted by the quote from the 12-year-old girl we've got here. She can do loads of cool stuff right now in her life, doesn't have to wait for the future at all. So unsurprisingly, tech is an important part of what is driving her empowerment, and in a world where anyone can become famous via the power of YouTube, they are inspired by role models such as Zoella, who is seen to be actively achieving her dream at such a young age and living a life that they aspire to. Over half, unsurprisingly, are using and accessing tablets each week, and this only continues to increase with age, as actually what we've been looking at earlier today. And we can see that ICT is twice as likely to be their favourite school subject than home economics. So again, just challenging, I think, some of the stereotypes that are still out there, played out in the media, played out in schools, even played out by parents too. In terms of role models, it's really, really interesting. They recognise those who work hard and have a unique skill that they are passionate about. And they also respect those who have achieved amazing things against the odds. So Zoella comes up again, and Jessica Ennis, even at 3 years on from London 2012, she's seen as a really, really popular role model. It's interesting to note Kate Middleton there, maybe not really so much against the odds. I know she's from a privileged background, and I don't think they're kind of thinking she's great because she's kind of producing heirs for the British throne. I think what girls are tapping into is the fact that she's a new type of royal, and she stands up to what she believes in and how she wants to kind of be a mum with her kids. The other interesting thing to note here is that girls in our survey were 6 times more likely to choose Jessica Ennis as a role model than Miley Cyrus. What is the main justification they give for choosing a role model? And it's that they have a real talent or a real skill. They seek out the real over the aesthetic, and those style and fashion are definitely still important to them. You need more than just that to inspire them and to be seen as aspirational. And as you can see, being driven and hard-working is equally as important as being good-looking. And her choice in characters is interesting. She would most like to be people like Katniss and Hermione from Harry Potter, and Matilda and Tinkerbell. She's looking for bravery and determination and intelligence, as well as the addition of being a little bit sassy, just like Tinkerbell, to really inspire her. And these are characters that hold true to themselves, and they stand their ground, and they don't portray the often depicted silly or helpless girl that needs rescuing in stories and films. These characters are much closer to reflecting and representing how Little Misunderstood feels and how she would like to be seen. And a good way to check if you're in Little Misunderstood's wavelength is ask, what would Taylor do? Taylor's absolutely getting it right in terms of positioning herself in the world, and there's quite a few things that contribute to this. Firstly, her personality is kind and friendly, and she's actually seen as being true to herself. Most importantly, I think she puts herself out there emotionally. She wears her heart on her sleeve, and she shares this world with her fans, warts and all, and she's really, really seen as genuine. She is also a great networker. She's connected to a wide world of talented people, so the likes of Ellie Goulding and Ed Sheeran and Cara Delevingne, her mates, and they really seem to be genuinely her crew. And if you look at the Bad Blood video, for example, it's like there's a celebrity version of the Avengers. And teens feel part of this. They think that Taylor opens up the world for them, which is a key thing for brands and for media brands, I think, to think about. How can you include Little Misunderstood? Do you make her feel part of your gang rather than being on the outside looking in? Another really important element to consider is that it's not to forget that Little Misunderstood likes to have fun. Remember, it's not just about pure cool. Little Misunderstood wants to have fun, and fun is so paramount to them. If something is fun, then ultimately it will be considered cool. And also, just debunking another myth, I think another perception, I think particularly from the adult world and that I've experienced within research, where people think they kind of know what kids like and don't like, is that contrary to this, that Little Misunderstood actually likes or even loves school, and enjoys a variety of subjects across the disciplines, so both the traditional subjects and the more creative ones too. In terms of the family dynamic, there's a trend for parents. So yes, that's parents who are your friends. If you think about the types of conversations that you might have had with your parents and when you were in your tweens, this is very likely to be different to Little Misunderstood today. In terms of her mum, she tends to be her best friend, a comforter and emotional support. And in terms of the role of dad, he's more the joker, her friend too, and also her biggest fan. And something I've definitely seen over the years is a real shift in dads tending to be more hands-on, and particularly more hands-on with their daughters, where in the past it was more towards sons. And they're doing things like, girls are doing things like going to B&Q with their dads on the weekend for a fun outing. Having said that, the majority of girls do feel that mum understands her more than dad. So there's still a kind of bias towards a mum, but dads I think are playing a more important and more emotional role with girls than before. And thinking ahead to the future and when they may be a parent, she feels it would be important to treat boys and girls equally, be friends with her kids, and teach her children that anything is possible. So that's the kind of good and the upbeat I think message about Little Misunderstood. And I mentioned we were kind of a bit disappointed and frustrated in some of the research we did, and we do think there's still some work to be done for Little Misunderstood, and brands can have an important role here. Girls in our study were hungry for a new way to be marketed to, and overall we're looking for a variety of experiences and a deeper emotional connection. So the first thing to kind of note here is that we need to help Little Misunderstood feel more confident. We can see a significant decline in agreement with I feel confident about the future, and more worryingly, a significant decline in feeling happy about their life from in between 8 and 10 and 13 to 14 years old. And yes, this is partly due to girls hitting puberty and the pressures of fitting in with peers, as it has been for decades. But nowadays, and we think that this is exacerbated by this being the key time for social media uptake, again, which the Ofcom presentation before really demonstrated to us. So they've got a higher level of empowerment than before, and there's a real big drop-off, and I think social media can play, unfortunately, a negative role there. And just picking back up on the subject of boys, though she feels equal to and smarter than boys, in fact, as I mentioned before, she still sees boys as more active and adventurous and sporty compared to girls. Now, I think things are changing here. So Sport England's got the great This Girl campaign. I don't know if you've seen it around, but it seems to be really building momentum. And I think even the England women's team's success in the World Cup, getting to the semi-finals, is starting to kind of change that perception and helping, I think, girls grow in confidence about sporting achievement and activity. But there still really is clearly a way to go here. And lastly, although it's only a minority, kind of 16% of girls, that is still 16% that feel that being a girl has stopped them doing stuff that they want to do. And yes, that's low, but ideally we feel this should just be 0%. There shouldn't even be a kind of question about it. So how can media brands best engage with Little Misunderstood? Well, if you think about what Nike has done for sport with the Just Do It message, if a brand could do that for girls at the time when they need that confidence and they need that reassurance, then that really is an exciting opportunity, both for girls, I think also for brands too. So what are the things that she wants brands to do more of? Well, I've already kind of alluded to it, and actually helping her to have fun really is paramount, and over half girls choose help me to have fun as the top quality they want from a brand, so don't forget fun. Secondly, and aligned with the feelings of empowerment, girls also want brands to allow her to celebrate her quirks and her unique personality. And I think Monster High, as an example, also Converse too, are very good examples of this. She's happy to be different. If you can help her celebrate that, all the better for it. Confidence is also high on their radars, and especially from the qual elements of the research, we saw that confidence is so important to them. They know it can help them in life. It's something that, I've noticed over the years being more and more talked about by young people, and particularly girls. And again, social media plays an important role here. It really can build up confidence just by the number of likes and number of friends, etc. But it can also crash it down, as was involved in a panel session this morning about what we want from the web, and social media is seen as a way that can really dent self-esteem and self-confidence. So, and I think this has changed radically in the last 5 years since social media has just gone on a real upward trajectory. And we also saw collaborative brand behaviours appealing, including asking for opinion and providing interesting stuff to share too. So it's about fun, but fun with substance. Humour is really their language. And as mentioned before, fun can be taken for granted when designing something for kids. And equally, it can be given too much prevalence as well. And you do need a balance of some of those other things that you've got here in front of you. So that's what they want more of. What are the things that we expected to come up higher but actually came out low? So firstly, we think that this study really challenges many of the assumptions and those default strategies that we still see today from marketeers in many brands. So less than 1 in 5 girls want you to use celebrities in advertising. They favour the more real role models or seeing girls their own age doing amazing things. Again, Zoella, a really good example of that. And only 1 in 10 want you to talk to them on social media. It's fine if you do have something valuable to content to share with them, interesting activity, maybe something to give to them that's a kind of about your brand and something that's really relevant. But otherwise, they look unfavourably on brands who clog up their feed, clog up their emails, and interrupt their playground. And again, interrupters is a key thing that kids don't like on the net. And I think too much brand chat on social media is one of those big interrupters. A few really only want you to make them feel older, so just 12%, and they also don't really want you to help them change the way they are. As I said, they're confident in who they are. They want you to celebrate that, not say, actually, you should be like this. So what I've got next is just a little film to kind of sum up some of the things we found about Little Misunderstood. Now, just to note, because of some confidentiality issues with film, we couldn't use actual qual footage from Little Misunderstood, so we've put together this film just to bring to life some of the themes. And this is one of our mini MDs called Lexi.
I'm Lexi, and I'm 11 years old. Welcome to Little Misunderstood. I am creative, quirky, smart and fun. I am really into blogging, reading, fashion and drawing. Blogging is a passion. I have connected to a new world and like sharing my thoughts. Technology is empowering. It lets me do so much and is so important in my life. As I have got older, I have become a much more confident person. I am very close to my family and friends. I am excited to start new things. Secondary school is a really big deal. I'm worried about who my friends will be. I think being brave, determined, and being able to think about other people is really important. A role model to me is a person who is real and true to herself. I really look up to Taylor Swift. She is a genuine, confident and beautiful person. I also like Peyton List. She does a lot with her fans and is true to herself. I really like to have fun. I love Instagram, YouTube and listening to music. Brands that are fun and let me be myself are the best. Apple, New Look, Zara, Sharpie. I don't feel being a girl stops me doing anything I want to do. My world is changing. There are so many inspiring girls now. I can do anything. There is more to girls than you think. We are misunderstood.
Okay, so that was Lexi, and I think one of the interesting things there in terms of the brands is like absolutely YouTube, Instagram, again, social media, digital is important, but also Sharpie pops up there as a brand that she's into, something kind of physical, physically creative too. I think just to bear that in mind in terms of balance of what appeals to girls. So, what strategies can we use to reach Little Misunderstood? So I'm going to finish up with 5 different ways we've identified in which brands can appeal to Little Misunderstood. And the first one is to partner with her to make the world more human. Give her something to believe in and offer her new perspectives that make her think differently. Get her feeling inspired about the world and her future too. Show her you have a caring side, but don't become overly worthy, as fun, as I said, is still important. What messages do you have that could appeal to her emotional and nurturing side? and things that work well with girls who like thinking about their future, and as they're young feel they really can achieve anything, believe the environment is important and want to make the world a better place, like to think deeper and ponder the world around them too. They're more into books and toys. And find people like Jessica Ennis who have worked hard, shown determination, and come out on top as a real inspiration. In terms of brands who are doing this well, there's been a recent campaign by the WWF that features emojis, and this sends a powerful message in a fun and memorable way that is integrated into their daily lives. The Dove Real Beauty campaign is also still referenced as the only beauty brand and campaign doing something positive for young girls. And similarly, as I mentioned, Sport England's This Girl Can campaign is motivating and really does create a sense of camaraderie. Number 2 on the list is being her number 1 fan. So this is about being egoless. It's all about her, it's not about you. Instigate activity that will help her realise and reach her goals. Show you champion her and her peer group by portraying them in new and positive ways, challenging the norm, and what have you done for her recently that has had an impact on her life. This works well with girls who are determined and have strong dreams and they really want to achieve something unique, like to dream about the future, but are also now feeling less positive about it than when they were younger, particularly at the kind of 13-14 age spectrum. Question obvious celebrities and enjoy deeper, thought-through connections with role models. And they respond well to success stories like Zoella, who is seen as a self-starter, smart, and also in control of her life. Now, in terms of brands, the Always Like a Girl campaign wins Best in Class here for their passion and commitment to changing the way the world thinks about girls and putting them at the heart of the strategy. And the recent launch of Platform by Penguin, not exclusively for girls, but it does have a very strong female appeal, taps into the needs for brands to provide interesting, inspiring, also safe places for young people to absorb themselves in content that helps them celebrate their passion. Third on the list is be her playground for fun. Give her content and experiences that provide simple fun in its purest form. Provide opportunities for her to share and interact with her friends in playful and regressive styles. Tap into her interests, which can be sport, animals, pets, toys, arts and crafts. There's a variety of them. And this is all about not shying away from the fact that she still is a child. Think about, do you focus too much on where she's going next before looking at the opportunities around where she actually currently is now? And this works well with girls who want brands to help them have fun and laugh, place a strong emphasis on their friends and are highly sociable, those that really enjoy taking part in sports and still revel in activities which provide very simple fun, and get inspired by the sense of fun energy of celebrities like Selena Gomez, for example. Brands that feature here are strongly rooted in the world of kids and play, but it can be a challenge to avoid down aging. It is still possible to do fun in a bit more of a sophisticated way that appeals to tweens, and there are actually quite a few examples of this being done well. And tweens either usually have to trade up to kind of adult brands or regress down to kids brands that they've previously interacted with and kind of feel like they've outgrown. So I think there's definitely a kind of gap in the market. The fourth way to appeal to her is to make her popular. Make her feel fashionable and glamorous to boost her confidence, but without up-aging her. I think that's really important to bear in mind. Make her feel cool and part of the in-crowd by giving her content and social currency to share with her friends. Use traditional girl cues to appeal, so glamour, celebrity culture, but don't forget that the way females are portrayed should always feel positive and empowering. And this really is the most obvious and I think overused strategy, and whilst it still works, which is why we have kept it in, I think you need to ask yourself, do you rely too much on this one? Is it time for a change? Could you reach Little Misunderstood on a deeper level? And this works well with girls who are really into celebrities, glamour and fashion, and there are still girls who really are into that, and I'm not saying that doesn't exist. They are super sociable and love to share things with their friends and be part of a big group. And girls who worry about what friends think of them and want to feel part of the crowd. And they tend to be inspired by celebrities like Rita Ora. And they also suffer from FOMO, just in case you don't know, but fear of missing out. And that's important to them. Instagram is a favourite social media tool at present. Girls can both share content with their own friends and tap into the lives of their celebrities that they love and who are happy to share things with them. Aspirational beauty brands that incorporate playfulness into the values like benefit are also highly desirable. And most fashion brands use the strategy. The trend for US preppy brands like Jack Wills and Hollister place a retail hanging out experience at the heart of their strategy. And lastly, ditch reality and champion fantasy. If you view her digital world as an ecosystem of co-creation and a digital art box, I think that's a really strong place to be. Engaging her sense of imagination and fantasy, don't be afraid to draw inspiration from non-real world places. And remember that gaming, tech and programming is not just for boys, and the category still underserves girls in quite a big way. Can you play a role in doing this better? And this will work well with girls who love tech and media and live their lives in virtual worlds that they create, who value shareable content and opportunities to digitally co-create with brands too, and those that have a fantastical outlook on the world, who love superheroes and would love to have superpowers. They will love trying new things, particularly involving gaming or anything digital, and have a creative flair for digital activities. Now the entertainment and gaming worlds are doing well here with the rise of more gender-neutral offers like Disney Infinity and Minecraft too. But there still is so much opportunity here with the advances of tech combined with kids' intuition. However, the vast amount of activity is still targeted at boys, and there are less quality and unique girls targeted brands in this space. A great way to sum up Little Misunderstood is by looking at how they said they would reinvent female superheroes. Now they haven't just drawn these themselves, we've got one of our designers to do this, but if you just look at some of the themes, some of the words they've used to describe their superheroes, so equality, friendly, doesn't need to be pretty, smart, funny, normal, empowered, super confident, takes risks, and this is how she sees herself and what she is looking for. So here's what we think the crux of the answer is and the headline output of everything we've learned. We would encourage everyone here in the room and actually at the conference who are trying to engage girls in activity to celebrate who she is, not who she feels she has to be. Girls are under a lot of pressure, particularly at the older end of the spectrum into their teens, and growing up on the stage of social media. Traditional marketing strategies which concentrate solely on girls' more superficial aspirations can exacerbate this feeling. And we can be disillusioned that we should focus more on who she wants to be and where she wants to go next, and in doing so we can neglect the beauty and the opportunity in celebrating who she is right now. Thank you.